always branding when you're silent, right? What does that mean? Let me hear it in the comment. What does that mean when you hear me say that or when you read that? You're always branding even when you're silent. Feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat for me.
It's because people are always watching you.
Yes.
You never know who's watching you. So it's important about how you carry yourself and how you present.
Absolutely, David. iPhone. Absolutely. It's all in how you carry yourself, right? How you present yourself, right? You want to present yourself in a way where you're confident, where you are being intentional about how you want to be perceived, how you perceive yourself and how you want to be perceived, right? So thank you so much for that. So, who else? Someone else had something to say? Let me move this over here. Was someone else saying something?
No, you can keep going.
Okay. So what we'll cover today is we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding, a little bit about each of these topics: personal branding, confidence and mental preparation, how dress for success has a lot to do with your personal brand. Again, going back to how you carry yourself. And all of this is about, really is about your presence, right? How you perceive yourself, how you want to be perceived, your confidence, your preparation, how you show up, all is about your professional presence. So let's take a look at these brands. Let's do them one at a time. So Nike, what's the first thing come to mind when you see the Nike logo?
Shoes.
Shoes.
Slogan, just do it.
Just do it. That's the main thing I remember about Nike. Just do it, right? If you ever need some type of voice in your ear, remember the Nike brand. Just do it, right? When you're afraid of doing something and you have Nikes on and you just look at the logo, it reminds you of just do it, right? So what about Apple?
Like iPhones, like phones.
Okay, phones. What else? What does it represent?
Expensive taste.
Expensive taste. What else?
High tech.
High tech. All right. Who recognizes that? Jalen says future and innovation. Yes, absolutely. Who recognized that brand down to your bottom? Well, my left, maybe you're right.
That's Fenty.
Fenty. That's Fenty. I see the comments in the comment section about the Apple brand, dependable, advanced technology, well diverse. What about Fenty brand? What does that represent?
Black-owned business.
Black-owned business.
Expensive, high-end makeup.
Black women, expensive, high-end makeup. So let's talk about your personal brand or personal branding, right? What does that mean? So when we're talking about personal brand, we know the word personal means you, individual. So when someone hears your name, what comes up for them? When someone experiences your presence, what comes up for them? In the workplace, when someone mentions your name, what are they talking about? Because essentially, personal branding is what people have to say about you when you're not in the room, right? And so your personal brand, what you want in relation to your internship, you want them to talk about what? Put it in the chat. What do you want to be remembered by? And what do you want people to talk about in relation to your brand? Put it in the chat. How I can be a great leader, legacy, delivering high quality. Yes. hard worker, kind person, the guy who works hard, motivated, kind, and passionate, absolutely. What you offered in your time there, yes, efficiency and effectiveness, excellence, all great responses. All great responses. That lets me know that you absolutely have been thinking about what is your brand and how you carry yourself and being intentional about what that is, right? So remember that it's all about what do you want people to say about you in the room. So Coach Michelle will drop a worksheet for you. And what I want you to do is just take a moment and list 3 words that you want to be known for. What are 3 words? Y'all are already started putting it in the chat. I see creativity, problem solver, respect. And you could type in this worksheet as well. What are 3 words that you want to be known for? Some examples are, like I said, you've already put them in the chat. Some additional examples are responsible, consistent, strategic, intelligent. Maya says positivity, kindness, determined. Yes, ambition, respectful, and strong. I love it. I love it. I want you to keep that in mind as you continue on in your internship. How do you want to be perceived? What do you want people to say about you by the time you leave there, right? What do you want them to say about your work, right? And whatever it is that is for you, I want you to be confident, stepping into who you are becoming, right? And so what does that take? That takes you knowing and being clear about what your goals are, right? Confidence isn't arrogance. Confidence is being courageous. How do we be courageous? By being clear. What do we need to be clear about? We need to be clear about our goals. I love the responses I keep getting in the chat about your 3 words: flexible, intuitive, determined, respectful, kind, confident. Yes. Yes. And so what I want you to really reflect on as you put these words in the chat, I want you to commit to them and think about how you will show up confidently, how you will show up by the words that you've just used to describe your brand, your personal brand, right? And so when we talk about one of the things that when we talk about confidence is being mentally prepared. A lot of times people think confidence is, I don't know, having it all together, being perfect. But I mentioned earlier, I said it's about being courageous. How do we be courageous? By being knowledgeable, by being clear, right? In order to be prepared. So what that means what does that mean? How can that translate into your interview? So for example, when you know you have a meeting, what do you need to have going into that meeting? What are some tangible things you need to have going into that meeting?
Answers.
Maybe notebook, notes, something to write with, pen and paper. Yes. All right. Now, whoever said answers, I would say have some questions. If you already know, right, what's going to be discussed, lean in with curiosity, have some questions about, whatever the topic is that's going to be discussed. That helps you kind of pay attention, right? And then the tangible things you need going into a meeting, or you should have, helps you to stay mentally prepared, right? All right. So what else? I want to kind of transition a bit. When we're talking about personal branding. We talked about confidence and mental preparation. The other thing that goes into personal branding is the way we show up, right? Our attire, the way we show up physically. What are we wearing? How are we coming to work? Right? So, with that in mind, I will say pay attention, know what the dress code is for your workplace, but always show up for not just for the job you have, but for the job that you want. What do I mean by that?
Are
What
you
do I,
asking?
yes.
Oh, you have to show like you may be applying for like an internship, but show up like you about to get the CEO position. It's like you have to believe that you going places further than what you just in the room for at that moment, because that's going to help you actually get further than where you're trying to go, or excel the most at where you already are until you get to like that next step.
Yes, absolutely, David. Absolutely. Someone says, dress like you want to be there, dress like you are there. Take it a step further. Dress like you want to be the CEO. Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the one you want.
And
Absolutely.
that's mentally as well.
That's meant. Come on in here. Come on and go and teach. Go on and teach. Go on and
But
teach.
yes, ma'am.
That is mentally as well. That goes back to the mindset, the mental preparation, right? It's all about the mindset, because what we want for you to have is a growth mindset, one that is open to learning, not one that's showing up, seemingly having all together, but one that is willing to what? Ready to, what did we say in the beginning? Ready to grow, right? Because when you are on this internship, people are watching. They are watching you, right? So, what else you want to add to this? What else you want to add to the conversation? The one thing I will add is on these internships, there was, and Miss Corley and Coach Jones, feel free to jump in. On these internships, you will come, especially if this is your first time experiencing the workplace. There are some workplaces, some work environments that you will step into and you will feel like a deer in headlights, right? Mm-hmm. What do I do? How should I be? Who am I supposed to be? Right? Be you. Be confident. Be clear about what is your goal. If your goal is to convert that internship into you coming back, if you're a junior, or if you're a senior, having a full-time offer, then be clear about how you want to show up. What does that mean, right? I'm going to let Ms. Corley jump in here because she is an former executive from ConocoPhillips. Yes, I'm giving her a bio introduction, and she has years of experience in the corporate space. So, Ms. Corley, why don't you just jump on in?
Well, a couple of things I just wanted to add. I liked when you said dress like you wanted to be the CEO, but know that the probability and the likelihood of you getting there in a short term time is not there. So dress like you want to be at the company. If you dress like an intern and you want to wear just your jeans, then they're gonna treat you like that. But if you go and come in there professional, dress well, they will respect you, and they will respect the work you do. So one of the things that Miss George said was. Talked about your branding. You can't tell people what your brand is. You have to show them. So that comes, but how you act and all the things that you do. So it's not, Nike's not well known just because they said just do it. It's because their shoes are quality, and when you buy them, they last. That's what they want you to remember. And so remember that your brand is what you do on a daily basis. The other thing I wanted to make sure and say is companies don't expect you to know everything. So if you don't know everything about what you're doing and you've got to learn some things, understand that they're there to teach you over the summer. You're there to learn. So don't feel uncomfortable asking questions. Don't feel like you have to know it all going in, because you don't. They're expecting to teach you how to do some of the things that they want you to do. So be attentive, pay attention, ask questions, and make sure you have clear understanding of what they are expecting you to do, so that you can fulfill your obligation and get an opportunity to come back if you want.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add that it's okay to involve yourself and to add to speak up in the meetings and speak up with your manager, your supervisor, but do it from a place of I'm still learning. These are things that I think might work, or even asking questions. If you've got an idea in your head, ask more questions just to make sure you're on the right frame of mind. Be teachable, be coachable. Make sure you are just absorbing it. Back in the day, sopping it in like a biscuit, right? Make sure you're absorbing everything that you can from the leadership and the supervisors and the managers around you, so that you know how to walk when you've gotten that experience behind your belt and you're ready to be that CEO. You want to know how that looks. So you want to make sure that you are absorbing things and not just thinking, I got to be seen, I got to be heard. Yes, it's okay to be seen and to be heard, but don't let that overpower you using, common sense and just feeling like you got to state something, or you got to, be more lively than necessary just to bring attention to yourself.
I have one more question that I'd like to ask. How many of you, if you put it in the chat, when you got to the company that you're working for this summer, realize that there are very few people who look like you in the workplace? Surprisingly so. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, put me in the chat. Put me in the chat.
And lots of politics. Try not to scare these white folks.
Jalen says, have noticed it in different internships. Yeah.
And so just to add, while you guys are doing that, that's going to be the case. When we are at Prairie View, we're the majority. We are there with mostly people of color and mostly African Americans. But when we go into the workplace, we usually are less than 5% of the population.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid of the fact that you don't see a lot of you. When you do see someone that looks like you, make sure you connect with them. But don't let that scare you, because when you get a job, you're coming to Prairie View to prepare you for a job, and the jobs that you're going to often get won't be in places where we're the minority. I mean, we're the majority. We will usually be the minority, but we want to change that. We want to change that by having them hire more people like us and more people who look like us. And what that means is when we do well, they'll hire more of us. So when you do well, coming from Prairie View, they'll want to hire more people who come from Prairie View. So you are representing not only yourself, but you're representing your family, you're representing Prairie View, you're representing African American people in general. So just know that it's okay to not have a lot of people who look like you in the workplace. You've got people at home, you've got family, you've got us to connect with. So we don't want you to feel like you're by yourself, but when you are there, know that that's okay. And just stand up and represent, as Miss George has told you, represent yourself well, and make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do to be successful in that job, to show them that Prairie View students and you as a person of color can do this job and do it well.
Thank you, Ms. Corley. And that goes, so the last thing I want to say is that everything we've talked about goes right into professional presence. And so I want to now open this up to for Q&A. And I also, and before I do, I noticed that Mr. Herbert Thomas is in the room. So Herb, if you want to say anything, he is the Associate Director for Career Services, my manager. So if you want to say anything, I see a question in the chat. It's a great question, and Ms. Corley, Herb, Coach Jones, and feel free, guys, this is your time. We are here for you, and I want to reiterate that. The first question is, how do you differentiate yourself in a room full of people promoting their personal brand? How do you make, and then the second question is, how do you make your professional presence shine brighter? Let me just answer that, because the first thing that come to mind, I'm gonna answer the first question first. It's not about shining brighter than anyone else. It's about you shining bright, period.
Exactly.
You have value. Everybody has value, right? There's always going to be something better, someone else have something better, but it's about you and the value that you have to offer, your talent, your skills. In regards to your first question, how do you differentiate yourself in a room full of people promoting their personal brand? I will say in a networking, and I take that this is in a networking situation or in a work environment, people are going to be promoting their brand, right? They're promoting themselves. It is your job to also promote yourself, right? If that's by, talking about what you've accomplished, who you are. We had one of our coaches, she used to say, let them know who in the room. Speak on what you're capable of doing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk about your achievements. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, in the workplace, the other people, they're not scared. They talk about it, right? And so I'm telling you, you do the same. When it's appropriate, of course. When you have an opportunity, when you recognize who's in the room, what you make, who you are, what you're accomplished, talk about the things that you've done in your coursework, for example. Talk about the things that you do outside of PV that contributes to your brand, that contributes to your goals and where you're going. Anyone else want to answer that question?
I put a couple of things in the chat. One of them is just be attentive. People can see who's paying attention in a meeting. So if I'm presenting, sometimes we will think that the presenter doesn't notice you in the room, but they can. If you're on your phone or you're not paying attention, you're not watching the speaker, they all can see that. They can notice that. And so that's given an impression of you. If you're asking questions, that just means you've been paying attention and that you are interested and you're a part of that conversation. And so that's another part of that. The other one is how you dress. You want to make sure you're dressed professionally. So that's representing who you are. When you want to stand out, you want to make sure you're doing looking professionally. The other part is just being able to speak about yourself. Sometimes Miss George mentioned that other people, they are not afraid or shame at all to tell you about who they are. Sometimes we are uncomfortable doing that. And I want you guys to get uncomfortable because you want to be able to say who you are. Okay, I am a Prairie View student. I'm mechanical engineering. I'm a business student, whatever I am. I'm excited about being here. This is my second internship and my first one. I learned a lot, and I'm really looking forward to learning more at this here at this particular company. One of my classes, my projects is really connected to one of the classes that I took, and I'm gonna be able to use that to better prepare me for when I come out of school. Be able to talk about yourself and some of the things that you've done at school and outside of school as well. But be able to have that elevator pitch. People talk about that, and it's like, okay, it's just saying who you are. If you got 30 seconds, you're riding in the elevator, and a manager sitting in that elevator with you, and they say, "Hey, I've never seen you before. What's your name? And what school do you come from?" You want to have that 30, you only have 30 seconds. That might get you your next job. That person might say, I want that person on my team, and move you into their area because they want to work with you. So don't miss opportunities. And when you miss one, learn from that and don't miss the next one.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
that. Mm.
I think it's also important that you know your value, right? Truly, truly know your value so you can stand in it, right? Stand in it and be seen. Don't, I think the question earlier, or that one of the answers earlier about how do I make my light shine brighter? Coach George gave a wonderful answer. You're not concerned about anybody else's light. Just make sure your light is shining brightly. Your competition should be with yourself, unless you're in the type of job that is a competitive job, like sales or something like that. But even still, compete more with yourself than being concerned about what other people are doing, because now your mind is not focused on how can I be the best. Your mind is how can I beat somebody else, where somebody over here, they're focused on how they can be the best. You and Joe over here are going back and forth, and this person supersedes you both because they're just focused on how do I be the best? How do I be my best? How do I make my best better every day? So best, better, 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 right? Continue to grow. And so know that value that you add. I have, just because this is your first internship and you never worked in a professional environment before, don't slight what you still bring to the table. Obviously, the employer who hired you saw the value. And so you need to own that value and stand in it.
And I want to thank you, Coach, Ms. Michelle Jones and Ms. Corley. So I want to be clear about what that value is, because it leads to that next question someone's, Mr. Robert Lane put in the chat. When we talk about know what your value is, know that besides your talent, the skills that you've learned, acquired through your coursework, and that you have to offer, your wisdom is also your value. Your experience, what you gain from your experiences, both personal and professional, is also your value. Your perspective is your value. So when you go into these internships and you're sitting in meetings and you have ideas and perspective to add, do not be afraid to add them. And along those lines, if you started your internship or getting ready to start, and there will be times you feel uncomfortable. You know what that uncomfortable is? I wish someone would have told me this. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it's because you're stretching yourself. And stretching means you're growing, right? And so from this point on, if you're a junior or senior, you're in an internship, or even a sophomore, whatever your classification is, know that this next chapter, this next season, as you grow as a professional, there will be a lot of uncomfortable moments. That means that you are stretching yourself. So someone asked, what is the best way to go about finding strengths and weaknesses when approaching the internship and not overextending yourself to something you possibly won't be able to hold yourself up to? Ooh, that's a good one. Miss Corley, you want to take that one?
Yes. So one of the things you want to make sure you're doing when you start your internship is you understand what the role is that they've hired you to do and what the expectations. Are they planning for you to write a document, and at the end of this, and you're going to present some kind of document on how to do something better? Are you creating a program? Are you developing some software? Are you going to be whatever it is that they want? There's something that they want you to deliver in this internship or in this new job. So you want to make sure you understand that. Not only what it is, how they expect you to do it, when they expect you to have it done, what are the checkpoints, and what are the components of it. So you want to ask questions to make sure you're clear. If you're not clear, then you got to ask those questions, and you got to find ways to do that. And an email, I would put something in an email that if it was my supervisor and I wasn't clear about my job, I would write something like, I really am excited about this internship. I've learned a lot already, and I've only been here for a few days or week or whatever the case may be. And I really want to make sure I'm able to deliver on whatever the project is that they've given me, or whatever that is. And so I want to make sure that I have some clear understanding of what the expectations are. So can we have a meeting so that I can make sure I get all my questions answered and make sure I understand fully what you guys are expecting of me, so that I can ensure I'm delivering the best to the best of my ability and a quality product? That's a great way to get more clarity. It's not intrusive. It's asking for more information, and using an email to do it is a great way to do it. And then set up that meeting. If the answer says yes, sure, then say, do you mind if I set up some time with you tomorrow or whatever the day is that you want to set that up, and get clarity. So that's what helps you to deliver and accomplish your goals for your internship or for the job, is by understanding what the expectations are. What are the goals? And you have to make sure you understand that. That will help you. Now, finding your strengths and weaknesses, we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. We don't always know what they are. But if you like to write, that's probably one of your strengths. If you like to present and you're a good communicator, that's one of your strengths. Well, anything else, you're always working. I won't always call them weaknesses, but those are opportunities for me to grow.
Yes.
So my strength is what happens naturally. What do I like to do? What comes easy for me? That's usually where my strengths lie. And the other part of those are where should I be growing? Where are there opportunities? So don't shy away from your weaknesses, develop them, grow in those. And that doesn't mean say, okay, I'm not a great writer, but I'm gonna ask them to write a presentation. No, that what you want to do is you want to use the opportunities that you have to write more. So create your documents, writing your stuff down in a way, and then using your tools. Chat GPT is a great tool to help you with your writing. So write what you want, put it in there and say, how would you say this to a person who's a manager if I'm an intern? It'll write it from your perspective. So use all of the tools that you have.
Yes. Awesome. I love these questions y'all have coming in. The next question is from Yusuf. How can you show people that you are trying to stand out without thinking or saying you are being cocky? Well, let me just say this, and I know, and then I'll give Miss Corley and Miss Michelle Jones a chance to respond. Listen, some things we have control over, some things we don't have control over, some things are in the box of concern. Neither, and being what people think or what people are thinking or saying, or
Excuse me.
you're being cocky, you can't control that, right? So when it comes to you giving voice to what you have to offer, I'll tell you this from experience, from personal experience. Begin to build the muscle of around, begin to build the muscle that doesn't give that concern, but what you focus on is your growth, right? Your growth and your strengths, and where is it that you can grow, the areas that you need to improve in, right? So yeah, I would say don't
The other thing I would say is we don't have to answer every question. So give space for other people to answer questions as well. So if you're taking up all of the space in the questions and answers, then you are probably taking up too much. So give other people an opportunity. It's okay to ask questions and it's okay to answer them, but don't feel like you have to do every one. Pick the ones that are most important to you. So that's one of the things I would say. One of the questions was, how can you change your professional image if you feel like you've been put in a box? Deliver. Deliver quality products. Whatever that is. Be on time, deliver, be attentive, create good products. Whatever you're supposed to deliver, deliver that well, and use all of your tools to do that. So don't think that you've got tools and resources that can help you. If you don't know how to deliver something and you've got something, we've got career coaches here that can help you. We are all here to make sure your summer is successful. So, you can ask us questions that will help you. So don't shy away from using us as a tool for you.
To that point, I will say this. Career coaches outside of Prairie View are expensive to have, even for adults. So if you have access to a career coach, these are a lot of questions that your career coaches can also help you to work with, the areas that you are presenting here. Another question is, what are some skills we should have before coming into the workplace as an intern to help us stand out? And I'll let Miss Michelle Jones or Miss Corley answer that.
Here, you want to start?
Definitely you need to first understand the type of role or industry you're in and what are the skills that are expected for someone to have. Number one, understanding what that is. From a soft skills perspective, again, there will be some specific ones that they want you to have. The job description will typically also tell you some of the things that you need to have. But in general, the most of the topics that we will be discussing over the course of the next 10 weeks are going to be some of those major topics you want to address. And so all of the things that we're talking about here, they all kind of roll into and overlap into each other. Your brand is very important because what they see of you walking in the door that first day sets the tone. You haven't spoken a word. So if you come dressed in a manner that is not befitting for that company, again, most of the time you might want to dress just one level up at least. But if you come dressed a certain way that is not representative of who the people are in that space, then you kind of already are, having to now change people's perspective. Coming in on time, and on time is not getting there at 8 o'clock and you're supposed to start work at 8, is getting there in enough time to actually start your job, start the work that you're supposed to do at 8 o'clock. Being able to communicate, both written and verbally, being able to write professional emails. It's so many different things. I think Miss Corley actually, when she had interns at her company, she had a program of all of the different things she made sure they went through. And so a lot of that, she's bringing that experience to us here at Prairie View to help us set up those programs. So, but go ahead, Miss Corley. I know you got a lot to chime in on with that.
So the communications, Excel, PowerPoint, and the email, those are just givens that you need to know and understand how to use those tools. And it's so easy for us to learn because we've got YouTube. There's so many tools that are free. You can go do a training in 15 minutes on how to do a PowerPoint presentation using charts or graphs or whatever the case may be. So, what you don't know already, there are tools and ways to get that information as you go through your internship. So don't shy away from learning more things that you don't know, but you should know how to use those tools. They'll assume that you know PowerPoint, Excel, Word, those are and email, those are just givens that you should know. And depending on your industry, as Ms. Jones mentioned, if you're in engineering, there's some things that they're going to want you to understand about the engineering so that you can be able to pick up quickly. So don't come in as in a deficit when you have the opportunity to learn more. So that may mean that you're going to spend some of your night, an hour or two in the evenings, working and learning new stuff or learning things that you heard the day before. That's okay. That's part of your growth. That's part of getting you prepared for the job. And guess what? When you really get a job, you're going to have to do those things. So you think, I only work from 8 to 5. That's not actually true. You work from 8 to 5, but some of your learning happens after work. Because if you got a presentation the next day, you need to stay up and do some work, do some research. So you've got to prepare yourself by knowing the tools that are available, but also being prepared to learn and knowing how to find the tools, find the things that you do need to learn. So there are lots of tools, and Prairie View has lots of tools at your disposal as well. But just on the internet, there's so many ways that you can learn how to do something. So be prepared for that.
Right. And meet with your career coaches. If you guys have not met with your career coaches, we
bring
are
that one
all
up,
here, ma'am.
Where you bring the career coach, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. If you have not met with your career coaches, you need to take the time to do so. We have a host of different professional development opportunities. We have opportunities to actually meet and greet with employers. We have opportunities to go into these environments where you may end up working so that you can see firsthand how things move, understand that space and how to flow in that space. There's so many opportunities working with your career coach that sometimes you may miss out on if you don't take that time. Coach George already mentioned to you the expense of what you guys are getting as a part of being a Prairie View student, President LeGrand has invested a lot of money to ensure you have things that on the outside, they're paying thousands of dollars for a 30-minute session in some situations, depending on that level. So make sure you're taking advantage of our department and everything that we offer. We have really, and we ask you, let us know if there are things that you're seeing or hearing about in the industry that you don't find that we're showing you or teaching you, or even stuff you're learning in your classrooms that have something to do with that career or professional development. Let us know. We will be happy to put things in place so that you can have that opportunity to get that development. I think Patrice Gatterson. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question. So I guess just looking at the PowerPoint, I am a public health student. So I'm wondering, would public health, health, and kinesiology be under Miss Jessica George?
Yes, it would. We are making some changes, so I would ask that you just send an email to myself, MY Jones, at pvamu.edu, because we'll be making some adjustments. I will get that to our associate director, and he will determine where we'll need to be funneling, because we are having some people shift around.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
We'll put her name and stuff at the end as well in the chat so you guys can find it. If you don't see your discipline, then contact Miss Jones and she'll make sure whoever the new person is that they get your information. And you can have one-on-one sessions with these career coaches. So it's not just group sessions. You can book a time and book 30 minutes, book an hour with your career coach and talk about your career and where you want to go and what you need to be successful in your internship. But also, what do you need to be successful when you graduate? What are the things that you need to be doing in order to be successful? They're here to help you.
And bringing growth challenges as well. I saw Maya's hand is up. Maya hand, I think.
Yes. Hi. Sorry. I was gonna wait until you guys are ready for additional last questions. I didn't want to interrupt you guys. I'm sorry.
Jump right on in. This is all about right on in.
Okay, my name is Samaya Lynn. I just want to say thank you guys. It's such an honor to be a part of this seminar. My question for you guys, Miss George, Miss Corley, and Miss Jones, is what personal advice would you give to students who recently got accepted into maybe not just an internship, but a high-level position, maybe within an organization dealing with imposter syndrome?
Good.
That's a good question. So when you hear people talk about imposter syndrome, they're really talking about not being their authentic self. And so trying to be like somebody else. And you can only do that for so long. You know, an imposter, at some point in time, you show up. The real you shows up. So what I always tell people, it's not that I want to be an imposter. I just want to be my best self. Just the best Cassandra that I can be. And so that may mean changing some things about how I do some things. Maybe I speak loud. And so that's not always as well received in the workplace. So maybe I'm going to work on trying to not be as loud in my speaking. That doesn't mean I'm trying to be an imposter. That just means I'm trying to improve myself. Maybe maybe I normally would dress more provocatively. Well, in the workplace, I don't want to do that. So I am not trying to be an imposter to be somebody else. I am just trying to make sure I am acclimating to the work environment that I'm in. And also, again, trying to be my best self. So imposter doesn't mean not changing. It just means, is this who you are or who you want to be?
Yeah. All right.
Does that make sense? Does that answer your question, or is there something more that you were looking for from that?
It does, in a way. I guess I envisioned imposter syndrome in a different definition. I know, like, imposter syndrome, usually when we feel like we don't deserve the position, or when we feel like we are underqualified,
inadequate.
Yeah.
And I guess that can also be a form of it. And that's one of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier. Know your value, right? It's very easy to walk into the room and feel like, oh my gosh, or hear what others have or done, or education that they have or certifications that they have, and feel like you just don't cut the mustard. But again, I don't have to have what other career coaches may have to still know that I can do this job and I can do it very well. And so for me, I would say, when you think about that, when you think about imposter syndrome that way, for me, that means that you're looking at maybe what somebody else has, or you're looking at the fact that you feel like you don't have enough. And so the biggest thing you have to do is know that you have that value. And then, and maybe you don't have everything you need right this moment, but you are working to ensure that you get that information, that training, that knowledge, that experience. Working with things you're doing right now, you're investing in yourself right now, and the other things that you will do with career services and your career coach to help you to not necessarily feel that way. But it can be easy. When I first came to PV, I'm not new to doing career coaching. I've done it for many years, but there were people in the room who had certifications and education levels that I didn't have. And I immediately felt like, oh, I'm not in the right space. This is not where I need to be. I'm not going to be able to do a good job because I'm looking at what somebody else has. So if you're looking at it from that inadequacy standpoint, no, understand what your value is. And if you have any opportunities, then do what you need to do to get those things in place so that it's not a strength for you. Now you don't feel like you don't necessarily measure up like everybody else does. I did forget, I'm sorry, we have one other career coach in the room, Dr. Danielle Figgins. Looks like you had something to say, Dr. Figgins.
Please, because she said something about imposter syndrome. I want her to come up.
Yes, that's kind of like one of my one of my niches that I talk about as a speaker. But yes, hello. Sorry, I was a few minutes late, but I did listen to the wonderful presentation and all of the great questions and the great responses from our career coaches, our associate director, as well as Ms. Corley. In regards to imposter syndrome, it's just think of it about self-doubt. Is when you're doubting yourself, but you are capable of handling the task. A lot of times people, they may feel that they will be found out as an imposter, as if you can't do it, but you really can. So I'll just speak just a little bit about it, but think about the first, like the first Black woman or the first Black person. They may tend to have imposter syndrome because it's a lot that's weighed heavy on their shoulders, right? They're thinking, wow, how did I get this? How was I able to get this position? But they are capable of doing it. So the whole key to imposter syndrome is really our thinking. I call it cognitive reframing. Is how you really think of it, because you are capable of doing it, but something is saying that you're not. So it's all about that cognitive reframing. So I would say research that term, cognitive reframing and imposter syndrome. It'll give you more information. I don't want to talk too long because that's like a little spiel there. But yes, it's all about self-doubt. But again, you are confident, you can handle the task. And I will also say, give yourself grace, guys. I mean, I know it's a lot weight on your shoulders. You're nervous right now. You don't know what to do, what to think. We are here to help you. That's what all of us are doing to assist you. But give yourself grace. There'll probably be some mistakes, I'm sure, but learn from them and move on. You've got this. And again, we are here for you. Thank you.
Thank you,
I just wanted to add one more thing to that. Thank you, Dr. Figgins.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really empowering.
So I wanted to say that one of the strengths that we bring as people of color is that we have obstacles that other people just have never had to experience. And so sometimes those obstacles that we've experienced, we have a different perspective about how to solve problems and how to do things. That's one of our strengths. So don't think you can't do it just because you didn't go to Texas A&M, or you didn't, and you don't know what their curriculum looks like. Guess what? Their curriculum looks like ours. You won't know that, but it is. It's the same curriculum, and you are getting a comparable education. But sometimes we doubt ourselves and we doubt what we're getting. You are getting a good education, just like they are. And so don't let yourself feel like you are less than or you can't accomplish it, because you can. And what I would tell my children is we're all going to have to there's always something we don't know how to do. And
Mhm.
there's some classes that are harder, some things that are harder for us to learn. That's just when you put more effort into it. So
Mhm.
whatever you don't understand or whatever you think you don't know how to do, put some more effort into that piece. So every person that's on that job had to learn, just like you've got to learn. So
Mhm.
don't feel like you're any different than they are. Um, just learn what you have to learn and put in the work.
Mhm.
And I will close out. I see a hand up. I will say, Maya, the next time that doubt creeps up, you say, nope, I belong here. Now, what is it that I need? Now, ask yourself, what is it that I need?
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am. Thank
A
y'all.
knowledge gap? Is it a
Okay,
resource
Jalen had it.
gap? So, yeah.
Mhm. I want to say one thing right quick in respect to the hour and the time that we asked you all to commit. If you want to log off, you can. Please make sure you've done the survey. As long as you guys have questions, I know I will be in the room. Probably the other couple of 2 or 3 coaches and Miss Corley will be in the room. But we do want to let you know if you need to go, please feel free to go ahead and go. Just make sure you complete the survey. Okay,
And
Miss
don't
Jalen.
forget, yes, and don't forget to tell your friends about these sessions. And this is a great opportunity to be able to ask questions and to learn some new information that we might not have
Mhm.
had. So please share this of the links that you signed up. It's never too late. No matter which week we're in, it's not too late. They can continue to move forward. Okay,
Miss
Jalen,
Jones, Miss Jones, I was wondering when is our next meeting?
The next what kind of meeting?
this
This is
one.
Zoom meeting we're on right now. When are we going to do this again?
Oh, so the Zoom sessions are weekly, Mondays at 6, Tuesdays at 7, and Saturdays at 1. Each week has a specific topic that we'll cover. But then after that topic is covered, that first 30 minutes, we open it up to just kind of have questions. Some will be related to the topic that we covered, or some will be just general questions that you may have about some experiences or things that you're looking to do. But we'll be doing this weekly the 3 days a week, except on Juneteenth, we are not doing it. I think that Saturday, and July 4th, we're not doing it that Saturday and that Monday. So just adjust. I've got all the dates out there on the reflections worksheet that I'll send each week. But we will have these for 10 weeks through August 9th.
And we only have to attend one per week. So if you
One per
attend,
week because it's the same information. Yes.
we'll do the same presentation Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday.
Okay, Jalen, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. It's somewhat related to professionalism. It just more so goes about internships and full-time jobs. So, just in my experience, I've had a bit of trouble with the financial literacy aspect when it comes to budgeting and how to actually use that money because we know that life is expensive. So it's just been me going through the ropes trying to figure that out. So I don't know if we can get your advice for this session or maybe just the next session. But that's just the question that I had.
So,
Okay,
so
sure.
So financial literacy, are you talking about the part when you're having to fill out all your forms at the job, or you're talking about just from a very general perspective, how to manage your funds, especially the money that you're making for the summer?
More so of how to manage my funds. I don't think I do a good job of budgeting or really
Okay.
know how to actually effectively budget. So I would like to
Okay.
try to learn that.
So the great thing is that part of the new program, if you haven't heard of the program called PV Cares, it's that each one of you should have a academic advisor, a financial advisor, and a career coach assigned to you. And that a financial advisor is not about you, not just to help you with your financial aid. They're to help you with financial acumen and how to prepare you to not only get through school, but also when you leave school, how to manage your money, how to budget your money. And so they'll be doing sessions as well all throughout the fall and the spring. So you'll be able to get some of those classes. But we'll also look and see if there's any way for us to maybe add a session, a financial literacy session, maybe on a Thursday where anyone who's interested can
Because
attend
yes.
and get some session, get a workshop on that. Would that be of interest to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Great. We asked on the survey, guys, tell us what other things that you'd like to have covered. And so yeah, we can look at a date and we'll put that date out to you, let you know when we can offer financial literacy and have some people come in and speak to that and give some tools to that. Probably we'll give maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe we can try to do it, Ms. Corley.
Yes, that sounds wonderful.
Okay. I
Good
saw
question.
someone else. Oh, Patrice Gatterson asked, will this corresponds with life skills? Hey, Patrice, you want to come off mute and clarify your question, please?
Yes, ma'am. I guess going along the lines of what my previous colleague said. So I guess with his like financial stability and also like, getting a apartment or, paying rent on time or paying bills or your credit score, like things of that sort. So would that also come from our PV cares underneath our financial advisor, or is that something that we can, I guess, start a session on just to prepare, for that after college experience?
We'll try to set up something during this summer so we'll have someone come and speak. But the financial advisors will be doing those types of sessions in the fall. So you'll have more time. So we won't, in 1 hour, there's only so much they're going to cover. But throughout the fall and the spring, they'll have much more time and they'll be able to do some sessions where you guys can come in and learn more things. So we'll make sure we talk to them and work with them to make sure that they're incorporating those and we're sharing that information with you guys. But we will set up at least one session where we can talk about some of these things that you guys are experiencing for the first time. And that is true. The budgeting piece and just making sure you understand your credit score.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
So we actually partner with financial services to bring that to the students as a partnership between the Department for Careers and Professional Development and financial services, because it's typically a lot related to I'm getting ready to go out into the workforce, or I've been given a job offer. How do I weigh this job offer against what my expenses are going to be? So we will have some partnerships with them. Definitely through the fall. We'll try to do a few sessions through the fall. But for right now, the sessions we do this summer will probably be a little more minuscule compared to what we really want to get into. We'll have to actually break it into several different types of sessions. But yes, if you send in your survey, Patrice, if you'll just let us know what kind of life skills specifically, so that we can make sure we are able to address those skills, and we can put out there again, this is what, be able to put out life skills in general versus the financial part of it may be just a little bit different as to what we cover. So
there was another question about networking, and
yes.
just to answer that question around networking. I used to not like the word networking because I felt like it was like fake. I was like, I'm trying to get to know someone to use them, and I didn't really like that. But at some point in my career, I changed that from networking to just building relationships. I like to build relationships. I like to know people. I like to engage with people. So when I changed my mind from thinking about it as networking or trying to get something from someone to just building a relationship with people and wanting to get to know them and them to get to know me, I started to have all these relationships that I wouldn't have had before because I didn't want to be fake. I just didn't want to just meet you just because, I need to. I wanted to meet you because I wanted to know who you were. And I wanted you to get to know me. And at some point in time, that might benefit me. But the point of it is not just to get something from you, is to get to know you. And that's a different mindset. And if you change that mindset, it makes it a lot easier to actually network with people.
Excuse me, ma'am. I wanted to also ask not everybody would have that mindset when it comes for them. For me, yeah, might have that mindset that I'm just trying to build a relationship, but maybe the other person might be thinking oh, right now I'm talking to this guy because oh man, in 3 or 4 years he might be the big thing, and he might help me later on down the road. So how can I tell somebody's not having that type of mindset with me? You
Ask them questions. So instead of trying to tell them about yourself and trying to build yourself up, ask them questions about themselves. So if it's a manager, someone who's in the company, I'd really like to learn more about your organization and what you do. Do you mind if I set some time up and we can talk, maybe over lunch or something? Or can you tell me about your organization? I saw that you guys do something with analytics, and I'm interested in analytics, and so I want to know how you guys use analytics in your business. Oh, I'm interested in some of the technology that you use. or maybe I want to know more about this area. I haven't had a lot of experience in this particular area, but I want to know more about it so I can see if this is something that I might be interested in from a career perspective. People would love to tell you. I've I've almost never met a person who didn't mind telling me about themselves and what they did.
That's the whole world. Everybody likes talking about themselves.
That's right. So ask them questions about themselves, and then you'll get a chance to tell them about you too. So there's always that reciprocal part. So don't feel like, oh, if I ask them a bunch of questions, then I'm never going to get a chance to talk. No, ask them questions about themselves and what they do and what they like and why they do that and where they've been and where they go to school and did they have to take some of these classes, and then you can get a chance to talk to them. But then they'll ask you some questions. So have you taken that class or did you do this? So tell me about you. Where'd you grow up? You'll get a chance to do that same thing, but being inquisitive about other people always opens the door for them to learn more about you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That really cleared it.
Okay. Maya?
Yes, ma'am. I just had a last minute thought that I should have added on the survey, but I didn't. If possible, if we could do a session over mentorship versus sponsorship, since
Yes.
differentiating the two, and then how do you navigate finding one or the other?
Yes,
So
we
I'm gonna
will.
give you the quick and dirty, and then I know that one of our sessions talks about that. So there is a session, I don't know which one it is, that talks about mentorship and sponsorship a little bit. But sponsorship is when someone picks you. So you don't really pick a sponsor. What you do is you do high quality work, you deliver on time, you add value to the organization, and you present yourself well. You're on time, you're attentive. All of those things makes people want to be work with you. And so when someone's working on, they've got a new project. If I had a new project and I needed somebody to be on the project, I may think about you because you've done all those things. You didn't ask me. You can't say, will you be my sponsor? You can ask me to be a mentor for you, but you don't ask for a sponsor. Sponsor is someone who sees you, who's watching you from a distance and saying, you know what? I'm going to put some political clout out there for this person because I've seen how they work. I've seen the quality of their work. I see that they deliver and they delivered well and they are attentive and they're asking really good questions and they come prepared and they're taking notes when we're at these meetings and stuff. I see what I like to see in them. And so when an opportunity comes, they'll put your name in the hat and you don't even know it.
We cover it week 7 in the effective teamwork and networking topic or professional development.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Maya, what was your you said you recently got into a promotion or a job. What is it, if you don't mind?
So I am president over an organization, and when I initially got into the position, I felt like I was dealing with a little imposter syndrome. I felt like I was underqualified, but I guess it was like a me versus me situation. I was battling with myself and my thoughts, and I had to tell myself like, okay, you got selected for a reason. But then it was like an angel and a devil.
Yes.
What it was like they were kids. I kept saying, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It was, I guess, just navigating how to deal with your thoughts and battling with yourself.
But just the fact that you're asking the question, I think it's a great thing. And so hopefully you guys are finding this session valuable, that you're able to ask questions. The whole point of this is while you're in your internship or your new job, there's always stuff that you questions you always have. There's stuff that you don't know how to do or how do I approach this. We're trying to give you some resources and some tools to manage that throughout this summer. And we hope that it's valuable, but we won't know that unless you tell us. So we hope that you guys will continue to attend, tell your friends, because we want to make sure not only you are successful, but every Prairie View student is successful who has an internship this summer. And every session might not be the most valuable for that person, but there's going to be one that they're going to find a lot of value in. There's something that you need. I wish I'd had something like this when I was coming up. And I know for my kids as well, who are PV graduates, I'm sure they wish they'd had something like this. And so this is new, but it's only going to be as good as you guys make it. and it's only as good as if you guys attend and tell us what we can do better. So this is not about us trying to be perfect. That's like we told you guys, you're not going to be perfect. You just want your best. I strive for excellence, and excellence is my best, not perfection.
Yes. And on that note, we're going to close this session out. That was a good way to end this session. Thank you so much for you all allowing us to be part of your development journey.
Thank you so much for having us, and I hope you guys have a good evening.
Thank you.
Make sure you fill out the survey. Make sure you
yes.
fill out the surveys.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good
Bye.
evening.
See y'all next week.
All right.
Okay,
We'll see you next week.
Y'all next
And you can
Monday.
attend any
See y'all
day. We
next
don't.
week.
The same sessions will be done every day, so it doesn't matter which day you attend.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
But
All right.
we
Have a
didn't
good
tell you
day.
about the prizes too. So
Yes,
remember,
ma'am.
there's
Thank
gonna be
Well,
some
I read
prizes
about them.
and some gifts. So they'll be nice.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll hang on, Michelle and Miss Courtney.
Okay. Me too.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm an ag student, or I'm an ag graduate. I just graduated class of 2025. Whoop, whoop, right?
Yep.
Who's our who's my career coach, or who's the career person over our department?
You said agriculture?
Yes, ma'am.
We are in flux. Mr. Thomas, you want to, how do we got him, David, with some help with the agri area?
He can stop by my office and I will assist him in the interim, but hopefully by the mid-July, we'll have identified a new coach for him.
And you can also send me an email, David, as well. If you can't catch Mr. Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. And you're the one who sent the initial Ignite reminder, email, sign up, all of that, right? All right.
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
So if you reach out to Miss Jones, she'll point you to Mr. Thomas. So I'm sure you can't get his name and information right now, but she'll give it to you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, David. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a nice day. Thank y'all for y'all time and all y'all wisdom.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Audrey, you still there? Yeah,
Audrey, did you have a question?
She probably walked away. Why don't you just drop her off the call?
Okay.
Go to your participants.
And you can start recording.
All right, Mr. Thomas, how do you think that went?
Is it
So far, so good. So far, so good. You still recording, but yeah, still
And I'm stopping.
so far, so good.
Okay, where is